Namaste. I'm Emma and I'm joined today by Vicky and by Katie. And together we're going to lead you through a core awakening session, or at least we hope so. And I don't mean just in terms of toning your core, but in terms of bringing more awareness to your core and how you move from your centre. It's our centre of power and will in the world, and for many people it's often out of balance and depleted, and sometimes we struggle to say no, and sometimes we suffer with anxiety and depression, and sometimes we're not quite sure who we are. So we can work with this centre through our practice. The ancient scriptures say that it's a seat of transformation, and that's certainly my experience from both teaching yoga and from my healing work. So anyway, let's see how we get on today. So we're going to start lying on our backs on the mat in Shavasana. So just bringing yourself down, that's right. Just having the feet about hip distance apart from one another and letting the feet soften towards the outer edges of the mat. If anyone finds this uncomfortable for their back, then by all means bend the knees and bring the feet flat. Otherwise, shoulders down away from the ears, hands a couple of inches away from the sides of the body and palms turned a little to face the ceiling. Good, back and neck long. So let's just begin by all of us taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then just maybe keeping the eyes closed or softening the eyes, or closing the eyes if they're open. And just bringing the awareness to settle at the navel centre, just for a moment, just identifying navel centre. And then with the breath, just finding a little bit more space through the navel centre. So we're going to breathe in and out through the nose. We're going to try and find some space through the rib cage as well. We'll try and find some space through the navel centre with the in-breath. And then we're going to draw the tummy back down, the navel centre back down towards the spine on the out-breath. So there's an awareness of movement around the navel centre, so expanding as you breathe in and releasing as you breathe out. You might also bring some expansion into the rib cage expanding outwards and lifting upwards, and then releasing on the exhalation. And we'll just try and maintain some awareness on this centre as we move through the practice. If anything doesn't feel right for you at any point, then obviously stop whatever it is we're practicing. But for now, let's take a breath in and draw both knees in towards the chest. And then we'll just press the lower back down onto the mat. Knees in towards the chest. We might bring the knees together or have them slightly apart, the feet active, dorsiflexed. And you might stay exactly as you are for a few breaths. We might work a little with our core, moving from that centre. Taking an inhalation here, and on the exhalation, perhaps bringing your nose towards your knees. Inhaling, releasing the head back down onto the mat, lovely. Making sure the neck is okay, and exhaling, nose back up towards the knees. Inhaling, head back down. And take one more like that, exhaling, nose towards the knees. Inhaling, releasing the head down. And then you might exhale, cross the ankles, however you choose. If you can reach to take hold of your feet, do so, or maybe the shins, that's it. I'm going to see if we can rock forwards and backwards from the core to a seated position, otherwise roll to the right if that's not possible for you. Brilliant, and then bring yourselves all the way over onto hands and knees. So just coming into the cat pose, just have space behind you, so start towards the front of your mat for hands. Shoulders just back away from the wrist joints, or wrist joints just forward of your shoulders. Knees and feet hip distance, so working from your navel centre. On your inhalation, you soften the navel centre, tucking the toes under and lifting through your chest, look forward. And then on the exhalation, draw the tummy into the back body as you round the spine, tailbone to the floor. Inhaling again, softening the tummy, lifting the chest, toes under. And exhaling, tummy away from the mat, chin to the chest, tailbone to the floor. Inhaling, softening the tummy, lifting again through the chest. And last one, exhaling, rounding the spine, chin to the chest. Just inhale back to a neutral starting position. Keep the shoulders now, if you can, over the wrist joints, and extend your right leg back with the toes tucking under. Keep the breastbone lifted, so the armpits are almost smiling. Keep a length through the back of the neck. So just looking down a little forward of your hands. Energize through this back leg, through your core, toes really tucking under. Take an inhalation and exhale, plank pose, left foot also back, left knee up. That's right, so you're in a lovely long straight line, brilliant. All the way pressing through the heels, crown of the head forward, tummy drawing up into the back body, tailbone lengthening, legs active. Great, on the exhalation, come back into downward facing dog. Okay, on the inhalation, forward into plank, lift the chest. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Again, inhale forward into plank, keep pressing through the heels. This time exhale, lower the whole body onto the mat, bring the knees down if you need to, lovely Katie. Inhale, baby cobra, inner thighs lift, all 10 toenails on the mat. And exhale from your inner and outer heels, downward facing dog, draw all the way back. Let's do that again. Inhale forward into plank, lift the breastbone. Exhale, lower down, elbows in, good. Inhale, feet flat, lift through the inner thighs, elbows in. Exhale, tuck the toes under from your inner and outer heels, lovely, downward facing dog. One more time, inhale forward into plank, lift the chest. Exhale, lower onto the mat. Inhale, baby cobra, elbows in, shoulders down. Exhale from your inner and outer heels, lovely, downward facing dog, brilliant. On the inhalation now, lift your right foot, look forward, and exhale the right foot to the right thumb. So ground that right foot down and just check, that's it. The knees on top of the ankles and that left leg is extended back. We'll bring the left hand flat to the mat, keep the right knee in, and on the inhalation, twisting to the right as you lift that right hand to the ceiling. Brilliant, so keep pressing through that back heel, extending through the spine, lovely Katie. Left hand pressing down, right hand reaching up, shoulders down. Everything drawing in towards the midline. Take the inhalation here and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale forward into plank, and exhale lower onto the mat, elbows in. Inhale baby cobra, shoulders down, lovely. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the left foot up off the mat, look forward. And exhale the left foot to the left thumb. And again, just make sure the left knee's on top of the left ankle, right hand pressing down, right knee lifted. Take an inhalation, turn the chest and tummy to the left as you reach the left hand to the ceiling. Good, that's it. Everything hugging the midline. Keep pressing through this back leg, extending through the spine, chest revolving, shoulders softening, fingers extended, and breathing. Brilliant. Take an inhalation here and exhale, downward facing dog. On the inhalation, lift the right foot, look forward, and exhale your right foot short of your right thumb this time. And then we're going to hop the left heel, so it's kind of in line with your right heel. If you struggle with the balance, you might take it a little bit more off to the left. We're going to come into Virabhadrasana 1. We're going to bend the right knee on top of the right ankle, and I want you to energize that left foot. Press it onto the mat as you lift your chest. And as you press that left foot down, take an inhalation to come all the way up. Shoulders down, chest aligned if you can with that right knee. That's it, good. So keep pressing into this left foot, making sure there's space through the pelvis, lower back, tailbone lengthening down, chest forward, lovely. And then I want you to really actively press into your left foot and move from your core. And what we're going to do is take an inhalation here, and on your exhalation, start to straighten the right leg, folding from the hips, fingertips to touch the mat. Have the right knee bent if you need to. And then on your inhalation, right knee bends as you press into the left foot from your core, come back up. Exhaling, coming all the way back down, straightening that front leg, fingertips towards the mat. Good. Inhaling, coming back up, press into that back foot, move from your center. Exhaling, back down, tummy drawing in, fingertips to the mat. Inhaling, last one, come all the way back up, keep pressing into that back foot. Exhale down, and then keep the fingertips down this time. Again, if you need to, bend the knee. That's it, lovely, just demonstrating that. If you find the flexibility, keep that right leg straight, and then try and draw the outer right hip back and soften through the outer left hip to find some alignment through your pelvis, and aligning the shoulder girdle over that right leg. Brilliant. And then press into the ball of the right big toe. So there's a spiraling right, there's a relationship through the ball of the right big toe and the outer left hip. And press the left heel down onto the mat. Soften the shoulders, Paschimottanasana, intense forward leg stretch, there'll be some sensation. Now we're going to move with the breath again, having some awareness of moving from your core. On your inhalation, I want you to start lifting the head and chest away from the floor, bending both your knees, lifting the left heel, and exhale the left knee onto the mat. Left foot flat, come up from here. Right knee on top of right ankle, hands to the heart. Lift the breastbone with your thumbs, so there's a lengthening again. Move from your center, take an inhalation, and on the exhalation, left elbow to outer right thigh. That's it, and then you're pressing the top hand onto the bottom hand. Stay like this, or tuck your left toes under And on an inhalation, lift the left knee away from the mat. You can stay as you are, as Katie's demonstrating, or take it to the stage further, as Vicky's doing. So there's again a lengthening through the spine. Everything is hugging the midline. Steady breath, shoulders down. Take an inhalation here and exhale, downward facing dog. That's it, just letting that settle. Thumb and index finger pressing down, shoulder blades drawing apart, tummy drawing in on the exhalation. Great. And then the same on the other side. So on the inhalation, lift the left foot, look forward. And exhale your left foot short of your left thumb. Hop that right heel now in towards the middle of the mat. So your left foot's at 12 o'clock and your right foot's about 1 o'clock approximately. And then really energize that right leg. So as you press down, it will encourage or facilitate the lift up. So press down, and on the inhalation, start to lift up, keeping that front knee on top of the front ankle. Drop the arm bones down into the shoulders there, for simplicity's sake. Anyway, tailbone lengthening down. Soften the toes, keep pressing into that back foot. Tailbone dropping down, lifting through the hip bones, chest open. And then we're going to fold over this left leg as we did on the other side, moving from our core. So you'll take your inhalation here, and on the exhalation, nice and slowly, start to straighten the left leg as much as feels okay for you. Obviously you need the bend if you need to. And then on the inhalation, come back up, press into that back foot, all the way back up. Good. Exhaling, coming back down. Inhaling back up with awareness from the core. Exhaling back down. There might be a little bit of a wobble. One more. Inhaling, press into that back foot all the way up. And exhale all the way down, and stay down this time. So again, you might need to have that left knee quite actively bent. That's it, Katie, good. And then you're softening through the outer right hip and drawing the outer left hip back. And find that relationship between the ball of the left big toe and the outer left hip. Keep the left thigh active, keep pressing into that right heel. Keep the chest nice and open, shoulders balanced. Steady breath, there'll be some sensation somewhere, working with the core, drawing in on the exhalation. Face relaxed. Great. And then again, moving with the breath. On the inhalation, let's start lifting the head and chest, bending the left knee, lifting the right heel as we exhale the right knee down onto the mat. Coming up from here, hands to the heart. Use the thumbs to lift the breastbone, to lengthen the waist. Take your inhalation, and on the exhalation, right elbow to outer left thigh. And then stay there as Katie's going to do, or if you choose to, tuck the right toes under and inhale the right knee away from the mat. That's it, good. So if you've lifted that back knee, keep pressing the back heel back. Everything drawing in towards the midline. Shoulders softening, steady breath, finding some space and movement from your navel center. Brilliant. Take the inhalation here, and then let's exhale downward facing dog. Great. And then we're going to take it into a balancing pose again. So there'll be some movement, I suspect, but we're going to use this balancing pose to really engage with our core, everything drawing in towards the midline. So we start by taking an inhalation into plank pose. And then on the exhalation, roll onto the outside of the right foot, inside of left foot. Take the weight into the right hand, and lift your left hand towards the ceiling. That's it. Stepping as Katie's doing, if necessary, the left foot halfway up the mat. Lovely. Thank you. Otherwise, as Vicky's going to demonstrate, bring that top foot on top of your bottom foot and squeeze the legs together. Lift the bottom hip away from the mat. Steady the breath. Keep pressing through the right foot, lifting through the outer right ankle. Take your inhalation here and exhale back into plank. Inhale in plank. And then on the exhalation, roll onto the outside of the left foot, inside of right foot. Weight into that left hand, left shoulder above left wrist joint as you reach the right hand to the ceiling. Or as Katie's demonstrating, bringing that right foot forward on the mat. Or as Vicky's demonstrating, right foot on top of left. Vasisthasana. Squeeze the legs together, those who have the legs together. Lift the left ankle bone away from the mat and reach through this top hand. Steady the breath. Check there's no discomfort through the wrist joints. Steadying. Everything drawing in towards the midline. Take your inhalation and exhale, right hand down, and lower the whole body onto the mat now. Hurrah. There you go. Well done. Good. Feet hip distance. All 10 toenails pressing onto the mat, so you might lift the legs up to encourage that. Brilliant. Hands together behind the back of the body, Sarangasa, snake pose. Interlock the fingers, draw the shoulder blades together already. That's it, and shoulders down. Brilliant. Now you're going to keep pressing the feet down onto the mat, including your little toenails. You're going to lengthen through the tailbone, the pubic bone will press down, but on your inhalation now, lift the head and chest and hands away from the buttocks. Exhale down. Inhale, lifting up. Exhaling down. One more, inhaling up. And exhaling down, and just softening here, relaxing. Rest your arms wherever you feel you need to rest your arms. Good. Keep the breath nice and steady. Now you may choose to rest. This may be enough for you right now. Or otherwise you might choose to come into Dhanurasana, the bow pose. If it feels like something you'd like to practice, then you're going to bend your knees and you're going to reach for your ankles with your hands. I'm going to draw the shoulder blades in towards one another, so already you've started to open the chest. The feet do a lot of work in this pose, so be really active through the feet. And again, try and keep everything hugging midline, so knees stay hip distance. On the inhalation, lift the chest and the head away from the mat, and on the exhalation, if you can, lift the knees away from the mat. Lovely, girls. And draw the feet back towards the wall behind you. Steady with the breath. That's okay. Good. Shoulder blades drawing in towards one another. Lift the chest. If it feels okay to you, you might really lift the collarbones. You might even lift the chin. Make sure there's no discomfort through the back. You might be feeling some discomfort through your thighs. Just stay with the breath. And on the exhalation, release from there. Relaxing and softening however you choose. You might rock the pelvis from side to side. Closing the eyes and internalizing awareness and noticing how that pose feels for you. So some people it's not great, right? The tummy is pressing onto the mat. For some that's actually really is great. You know, you're kind of massaging your digestive organs, but for others it's very confrontational. We don't necessarily feel very comfortable with it. So just noticing how these poses make you feel, what they throw up for you, the way they change how you feel, transform how you feel then. And then we'll counterpose this pose, or the bow pose then, with downward facing dog. So hands underneath the shoulders again, elbows drawing in, tuck the toes under, work from your core, from the thighs, take an inhalation, all the way back, that's it, downward facing dog. Heels down towards the floor as best as feels comfortable for you, thumb and index finger base pressing onto the mat, chin to the chest. Good. And then on the exhalation, let's release the knees to the mat and take pose of a child. So knees apart, big toes together, tummy resting on the thighs, forehead on the mat or on your hands. If you have the forehead on the mat, you might do what these girls have done and just take the hands towards the heels and soften the elbows. Shoulders softening over the knees. And settle the awareness on the navel center. Feel maybe some movement as you breathe into this space. Stay aware of the breath, however. Tendency for the mind to wander, drift. Stay focused on the breath. Okay, on an inhalation now, lifting the head away from the mat. And as you exhale, unfold your legs and bring yourself to sit. And then just scoot forward on your mat so you've got space behind you. That's it. Just in case. And keep the knees bent, and we're just going to let the knees drop off towards the side a little, just so we can take hold of the big toes with the index finger, middle finger, so Beinspired. So middle finger, ring finger, and thumbs involved in the process. And then we might just sit a little taller, lift the lower back away from the mat. You might stay like this, or otherwise you can inhale the heels away from the mat. And you possibly exhale, work towards straightening your legs. That's right. Don't worry if they don't straighten. That's okay. Katie, stay as you are. Brilliant. Engage through the legs. So legs squeezing together. Brilliant. Lower back lifting away from the mat. Shoulders drawing down the back. Steady breath. Fabulous. So there's some balance here as well as some awareness of the core muscles working to sustain us, and other muscles working as well, of course. We're going to transition from here into boat pose, Navasana. So you might keep your legs straight as Vicky's demonstrating, or keep the knees bent, or bend the knees, and practice as Katie's demonstrating. You could even take hold of the back of your thighs if it's too much for you. Lovely. So legs together, knees can be bent. Focus the eyes possibly on your feet, on your toes, your big toes. There's a drishti there. Lower back is lifting away from the mat. If it becomes uncomfortable, you start to feel back pain, then obviously come out of the pose. Not to be practiced incidentally if you're pregnant, by the way. Shoulders down away from the ears. Steady with the breath. And then on the exhalation, feet flat to the mat. And you might take your hands either side of your hips or just behind your hips. Press the hands down, feet down, and inhale, lift the buttocks away from the mat. And then exhale, release them back down onto the mat and extend your legs forward. Sitting tall on the sitting bones for Paschimottanasana. So we're going to fold in on our navel center now. So with the spine long, legs active, extend the hands to the ceiling, drop the shoulders. Take an inhalation, and on your exhalation, lead with the heart. Reach for your feet or your shins, wherever you can reach, but try and keep the spine long so that you're not rounding the back. It's better to sit upright than to round the back, at least in my opinion. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Lovely, it's fine, Katie. And keep the breath steady. You might close your eyes again and internalize awareness, so working again with the navel center here. Some people will find this pose really easygoing, love the introverted nature of it, the ability to fold in on themselves. Others will be very challenged by this pose, not least by any tension they may be experiencing in the back of the legs, but also depending on their relationship with their navel center, with their stomach. For many it kind of seems to get in the way often in this pose, and that puts people off practicing this pose. It's incredibly invaluable for the health of your digestive organs. And the ancient yogis believe that disease begins in the digestive organs. So what we can do, or anything we can do to help keep these organs healthy, is really helpful for our general well-being and state of health. And indeed state of mind. Okay, with the breath, releasing any binds, strong through the core, and on the inhalation, extend the hands to the ceiling. And exhale, bring your hands to the back of the body with the fingers pointing towards the buttocks, but that might not be comfortable for your wrist, in which case turn them the opposite direction. Paschimottanasana, so we're going to keep the legs squeezing together, press the hands down, take an inhalation, lift the buttocks away from the mat, and exhale the heels towards, or the feet, toes towards the floor. So the more you can lift your hips up, the more you can open through your chest, shoulder blades into the back of the body, the more your toes will come down towards the mat. Make sure there's some lengthening through the lower back. Good. Breathing, no discomfort through the wrist joints. And then on the exhalation, release the buttocks back down onto the mat. Well done. Brilliant. And then you might scoot forward on your mat so you've got space behind you. And let's work with our core muscles here. So knees bent. Extend the arms out, hands or palms facing one another. Take an inhalation, then on the exhalation, lower yourself down onto your mat. And settle for a moment, just let everything settle. You can keep the knees bent though. We'll go into bridge pose, seated Bandhasana, just to open the front body a little more. So we'll bring the heels back so they're a couple of inches forward of the sitting bones. In theory, the knees are above the ankle joints. Big toes turned in ever so slightly. That's it, outer edges of the feet parallel with the long edge of the mat. Moving from your core, but before we do that, just find a lengthening through the tailbone and a lifting of pubic bone towards belly button. And then take an inhalation, press the feet down, and on the exhalation, roll the spine up off the mat to lift the tummy up towards the ceiling as you press the knees forward. That's it. You might bring your hands together. Interlock the fingers, wiggle from one shoulder to the other shoulder, palms maybe pressing together. That's it, Katie, brilliant. And then the feet are strong in the pose, working with your hamstrings here, but also just opening through the front body. Keep the breath steady, breathing up into your chest cavity. Spacious through the back of the neck. Good. And then releasing the hands apart from one another and slowly on an exhalation, unrolling your spine, releasing the lower back down onto the mat. And again, just letting everything settle here for a moment. And then we'll release the left leg along the mat. That's it. And we'll inhale the right knee into the chest. Just hug that right knee in for a moment. Good. Press the left leg down, dorsiflex the left foot. And we're actually going to slip the hands to the back of the right leg, so the back of the right thigh initially. And we're going to take an inhalation and exhale. We're going to extend the right heel to the ceiling. Now some of you might need to keep the knee bent. If you did have a strap, you could take a strap around the sole of that right foot. But otherwise, or a scarf or something like that. But otherwise, you can just hold, as Katie's doing, and have the knee slightly bent. And if you feel that you have the flexibility, you might slide your hands further up that right leg to take hold of the back of the right calf. And some of you might even take hold of your right foot. Just make sure you don't throw the shoulders off balance or the neck. Press down through the lower back, so whichever feels right for you. So Supta Padangusthasana as we lengthen up through the right leg. I'm sure you feel some tension somewhere, so you might direct awareness to that tension. Brilliant. And then keep the left leg grounded down, but also press the lower back and your lower ribs down. Take an inhalation. On the exhalation, allow that right leg to float down towards the mat, keeping it as straight as you can. Lower back pressing down, lower ribs pressing down. And then soften the right leg. Well done, girls. Hopefully it should feel a little different from your left leg. And then we'll do the same on the left side to balance us. So we'll inhale the left knee into the chest and just hug that knee in initially. So just hold the shin or the back of the thigh. Lovely. Keep pressing that right leg down. Wherever feels, that's it. Wherever feels comfortable. Relax the face. Jaws soft. And then take hold of the back of the left leg. Take an inhalation and exhale. Extend that left heel up now. So you might notice a difference one side compared to the other. That's it. Keep pressing the right leg down. Everything hugging the midline. Again, if you choose to, you can slide your hands further up that left leg, reaching eventually that left foot, but don't lose integrity. See people forcing themselves into the pose and their shoulders come off alignment and their neck and their head lifts, and it's not a very joyful picture. So keep pressing down equally through the shoulders, face soft. Natural curvature to the back of the neck, lovely. Chin in towards the chest a little. Noticing tension, quivering and shaking is fine. But don't force, don't pull and force. So you're always just staying with your edge, right? So you're just flirting with the edge, not pushing yourself beyond that, pulling yourself beyond that. Press down again through the lower back, through the lower ribs and through that right leg, and on an exhalation, lower now, the left leg down onto the mat. Good. And then let's inhale both knees in towards the chest. Hug those knees in. And then we're just going to, on an exhalation, extend both heels to the ceiling, so both legs straight simultaneously. Now, some of you will have the flexibility like Vicky, and we're going to take a 90-degree angle at the hips here. We're just going to press the lower back down and press up through the heels. Actually, Katie, that's not too bad. Some of you may find that's just a bit too challenging for your hamstrings, so you just might bend the knee slightly. Is that all right? That's it. And just press the lower back down. Keep squeezing the legs together, but really press, as you press the lower back down, and on the exhalation, really draw the tummy in towards the spine. And then you might stay as you are, so Katie, if you just stay here. Those of you who are fine, you don't have any weak lower back issues, then you might bring your hands down beside the body, that's it. And you might take an inhalation now, and on the exhalation, lower the heels almost down onto the mat. So say a couple of inches away from the mat. Keep the lower back and lower ribs pressing down. Then inhale, lift the legs back up towards the ceiling. On the exhalation, lower down again, heels a couple of inches away from the mat, legs together. Inhaling back up. Keep the lower back pressing down. Exhale, lowering down again. Well done, Vic. One more. Inhaling back up. Lower ribs pressing down, lower back as you exhale one final time. And inhale, knees back up, the legs back up. That's it. And exhale, both of you, knees in towards the chest. Great. So if you have eye pillows, you might take an eye pillow over your eyes. You might also put on any warmer clothing. So your feet are about hip distance apart, that's it. And the hands are a couple of inches away from the sides of the body. And the shoulders are drawing down away from the ears. Back of the neck is long, face is soft. Deep breath in through the nose, everyone, and out through the mouth. And just giving yourself whatever silent permission you need to completely rest body and rest mind. Let go of the breath. Allow a softening through the navel centre. Relaxing both feet, both legs on the mat. Relaxing the pelvis. Relax the lower back, the middle back and the upper back. Relax the tummy and the chest. Shoulders drawing down away from the ears. Arms relaxing, hands softening. Make sure the jaw is restful. So no tension, no holding. Back into the body. Awareness back to the body and awareness back to the breath. And just increasing now the pace of your breath as you start to bring gentle movement back to fingers and back to toes. Stretching your body if you feel to stretch your body. Otherwise, gently drawing the knees in towards the chest and massaging your back on the floor. And then gently rolling to rest on the right side of the body, allowing eye pillows to fall from eyes, keeping the eyes soft. And then from there, gently pressing yourself up to any comfortable seated position, facing the front of your mat. Join me in the pose of humility, bringing the fingertips onto the mat ahead of you, taking an inhalation, and on the exhalation, whipping the hands forward. Bowing the forehead in the direction of the mat, it's more of a gesture than a posture. And on the inhalation, lifting the head away from the mat. And exhale, walking the hands back towards the body, bringing your hands together at the heart. Where the hands press together, an extension of the heart space. Taking a moment to notice if anything stood out for you today about your practice, about your relationship with your navel center. And then drop the chin towards the chest. Your beings of happiness and the causes of happiness. Slowly opening your eyes, looking down towards the floor. And namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.